Hi dear, today we'll start a new chapter in biology, chapter 7, control and coordination. Okay, so last chapter we have seen this, the movement, right? Movement, the Green's formula, right? Mrs. Green. The movement, the how will you say something is growing or something is live? So by the movement only we can conclude that it is alive, it is growing. If the plants is but the plants are not moving, but still we can see it is growing, it is alive, right? How? By the time passes, we can able to see that plant has grown, right? So here we are going to continue with that part about the movement, right? Why do we associate visible movements with light, right? We For this question, to answer this question, first we'll discuss this. If a cat is running, means is that the cat is growing? No. Okay, if I touch a hard part, means I'm suddenly I'll take my hands. Okay, if I see a snake, means I'll be running, right? So that means I'm growing? No, it is not like that, right? So I'm responding to some changes, right? So here we always associate the visible movements with the life, because we think that we are responding to the changes in the environment, right? We are think that movement as a response to the change. If something is changed around us, we'll respond to that, right? That is also a movement, right? Why do we do so? Why? To protect ourselves. When we detect some changes, or if you detect any changes in the environment around you, you will respond to that to protect yourself, right? So we detect the change and respond to it with movement. How will you respond? With movement. You will respond to that change by moving from that place, right? In order to protect ourselves, right? But are we doing the same type of movement for everything? If I touch a hard part, means I will take my finger alone, right? If I see a snake, means I will be running, right? If somebody going to hit me, if I feel like that, I'll be back. If anybody is going to trying to slap me, I'll be suddenly back. I'll be escape from them, right? So for each cases there is different responses, right? The response is not same for each thing, right? So the response is based on the change in the environment, based on the event happening in that environment. Okay, so each kind of change in the environment evokes an appropriate movement, not the same movement for everything. Okay, appropriate movement in response, that is our movement is controlled, right? For example, if we are sitting in a classroom, the teacher is taking class, means are we speak loudly? No. If you want to speak with your friend, you will be whispering in his ears, right? Likewise, so it is control. Okay, so who control all this thing? Means there is a separate system to provide this control and coordination. Okay, and this control and coordination is given by the nervous system in the multicellular organism. Okay, so in multicellular organism, for different works there is a separate organs. Likewise, for our control and coordination, there is a separate system provided in the multicellular organism, that is the nervous system. Okay, the nervous system. So if we see the nervous system, the main parts of the nervous system would be your brain. This is your first brain. For if you are respond to anything, means you will get the signals from your brain only. So your brain and your spinal cord. Okay, spinal cord, and from the spinal cord and the brain, you will get wire like structures called nerves. Okay, this is your brain and this is your spinal cord, and these all are your nerves, wire like system. Okay, through this only the signals are transmitting. Okay, so the nervous system, the main part of the nervous system is brain, spinal cord and nerves. Okay, but But not only these three are involved in the nervous system, and the main thing involved in this nervous system, we cannot say that is a parts of the nervous system, but still it plays an important role in the nervous system. That five parts are your five sense organs, right? Sense organs. Without detecting that, how will you get the signals, and how you will be responding to that? So the other organs which plays important role in the nervous system is your five sense organs, right? Sense organs only detect the change in the environment. If sudden sound, how will you hear the sudden sound? As sudden sound has come through the ears, okay. How will you see that a snake is coming? Through your eyes, okay. How will you say that something is hot? If you touch that, you can say like that, right? So only the sense organs will detect the changes in the environment. We are responding to the environment and we are telling that. So how will you detect the changes in the environment? We'll detect the changes in the environment by the five sense organs, right? So your five sense organs are ear, eyes, nose, tongue and skin. You know all this thing, right? Ear for detecting a sound, eyes for light, nose for smell, tongue for taste and skin for touch, right? Okay. So how it detects the changes? Okay, how the ears detect the changes, how the eyes detect the light, how the nose detect the smells. So that and all done by the receptor, okay. Receptor, these are the cells. Receptors, these are the group of cells which are present in all the sense organs, and they detect the changes in the environment and respond to it, okay. Okay. So these are the cells which are present in the sense organs. These receptor cells only detect the changes, whether it is hot or cold, whether it is sour or sweet, like that, smell, all these are done by the receptors only. So in the five sense organs, all the five sense organs are doing different work, right? So the receptors will also be different, okay. So what are the receptor present in the ear means? You will have phonoreceptor, that means sound receptors, okay. It detects the sound, change in the sound. And eyes photoreceptor cells are there. Nose olfactory receptor, it detects the smells, right? In the tongue, gustatory receptors, and the skin, it is a thermoreceptors, okay. These are the receptors found in the receptors cells found in the five sense organ. These receptor cells only detect the changes in the environment, okay. Okay, fine. So what type of cell is present in the nervous system? If you see that, neurons are the cells present in the nervous system. Neuron is the type of cell which are found in the parts of the nervous system, and it is responsible for conducting electric impulses from one part of the body to the other parts, okay. Only through this neurons only the electrical impulses are transmitting from one parts to the other parts, okay. So we'll see the structure of neuron in detail, okay. This is the structure of the neuron. Already we have studied in the 9th standard, right? So this is a cell body. The whole part is a cell body. This is a cytoplasm, this is a nucleus, and these fiber like structures are called dendrites, and this part is called, long part is called axon, and it has some endings, the axon endings, or we can say nerve endings, okay. This is the structure of the neuron, okay. So these dendrites, these in the nerve cell, this is a type of nerve cell. For example, this is a thermoreceptor cells, means you will have this thermoreceptor cells here. It will detect the changes in the temperature, whether it is hot or cold, okay. Okay. So how the changes are traveled from the environment to our brain, from the brain to all parts of the body, or from the parts of the body to the brain, how it is transmitted, we'll see in detail. The general schematic one, okay. The general method of transmission of electrical impulses from one place to another, okay. So everything is happen in the same manner, okay. This is a general one. Describe the general scheme of how nerve impulses travel in a body. Okay. So you will have the nerve here, right? So you will have the fiber-like structure, dendrites, and you will have an axon, and you will have a ending at this place. Okay, nerve ending. Okay, so for example, if you touch a hot thing, right, immediately you will take your hands, right? How it happens? Okay, so when you touch this, so who will detect that when that is hot or cold? That thermoreceptor present on the skin, right? Thermoreceptors, these will be present in the tip of the dendrites. Okay, in the tip of the dendrites. When it touches, a chemical reaction happens, right? When it touches a hot part, a chemical reaction happens here, and this causes a electrical impulse. Okay, the electrical impulse will enter the cell body, and from the cell body it enters the axon, and it will come to the end of this neuron. Okay, at the end of the neuron, till that it will travels as a electrical impulse only. Okay, the chemical reaction is converted into the electrical impulses and travel through the neurons and come to the end of the axon, nerve ending. Here you will have another neuron, right? You will have another neuron with the fibers, but these two are not connected. There is some gap. Some gap will be there, and again you will have an ending. Okay, some gap will be there. Actually it is not here, it will be here. Okay, some gap will be there. Okay, here what happens means, till the end of the nerve ending, it comes as a electrical impulse. Okay, after that, once it reaches the end of this nerve, this electrical impulse again stops, and it becomes a chemical reaction. Okay, it releases some, this electrical impulse stops, and it releases some chemicals in the gap. It releases some chemical. Okay, these chemicals again touches the dendrites of the other nerve, and again it converted into impulse, electrical impulse. Okay, this gap between the two neurons is called, nerve cells, is called synapse, or gap, we can simply say synapse or gap. So it the chemical will cross this synapse and reach the other dendrites, and again it becomes converted into electrical impulse, and again it is transmitted through the cell body and to the axon and to the nerve ending. Again it goes like this. See, for example, this goes like this connection. It goes to, so from the cell body to the end, it will travel as electrical impulse, and again in the gap it converted into chemical, again it converted into electrical impulse. Okay, again it secretes some, it releases some chemical, then again it converted into electrical impulse when it reached the another cell. Okay, so this is the general method of travel of electric impulse from one parts of the body to other. Okay, when the receptor detects any change in the environment, a chemical reaction is triggered in the dendritic tip of the nerve cell. Okay, and that causes an electric impulse in dendrites. Okay, these impulses travel from one dendrites to the dendrites to the cell body, and then along the axon and to its ends. Okay, it enters the dendrites, then to the cell body, then to the axon and to the end of the nerve. Okay, at the end what happens, the electrical impulse sets off, and tiny amount of chemical is released in the gap. That gap name is known as synapse. Okay, these chemicals crosses the synapse and reach the tip of the dendrite of the next neuron, where it again produce electrical impulse. Okay, it moves as a here the chemical reaction happens at the tip of the dendrites. Again this chemical reaction created a electrical impulse. It enters the cell body and travel along the axon and come to the end. Okay, at the end the electrical impulse will stop and release a chemical, and this chemical transfer from this end to the tip of the another nerve. Okay, so this gap is called synapse, and again it becomes, this chemical reaction becomes electrical impulse. That's all. This is how the electrical impulses are sent to all parts of the body. Okay, thank you.